We have heard time and time and time again over the last 20 years. It's something Florida Senator Marco Rubio reiterated yesterday. Listen.
If someone's decided I'm going to commit this crime, they'll find a way to get the gun to do it. That doesn't mean you shouldn't have a law that makes it harder. It just means understand, to be honest, it isn't going to stop this from happening. You could still pass the law, per se, but you're still going to have these horrible attacks.
Errol, is he right? Would none of this, the restrictions we've talked about, we've heard about, would have stopped this shooting?
No, that's provably false. And I think that might just be the money talking. Senator Rubio is one of those who has taken millions of dollars from the National Rifle Association, and so he kind of recites their talking points, and that's one of them. But the facts are these. In the decade before the 1994 assault weapons ban was passed, you had one set of numbers. Those numbers then came down, both the number of incidents and the number of fatalities from mass shootings, defined as 6 or more people killed. It went down in the decade that the ban was in effect. And then the numbers soared after that law was allowed to lapse. And Senator Rubio knows that very well. He's not really being honest with the public when he says, gee, nobody can do anything. These things are just going to happen. There was a 10-year period when a federal law was in effect, and the numbers came down. Steps were taken in the right direction. Senator Rubio is not going to, even if you accept his logic and say that, well, this isn't really going to work, okay, fine, pass it. Prove everybody wrong who's been crying out for some kind of regulation. But Senator Rubio is not going to do that.
Yeah, a couple things to point out. There are 27 states that allow 18-year-olds to buy long guns. 3 of those allow them to buy at age 16. There are 2 pieces of gun legislation in Congress today. They would arguably loosen gun restrictions on concealed carry and make it easier to buy a silencer. Let's listen now to what Florida Governor Rick Scott said, surprising some on the right and the left.
Everything's on the table. All right, I'm going to look at every way that we can make sure our kids are safe. It's a lot of things. It's looking at, who should have guns. Should individuals report things. It's not one thing. It's all these things put together.
A courageous stand, in particular if he's running for Senate, will be difficult to take on the NRA. Do you expect changes to be made? Do you expect Democrats to use this as an issue as we approach the 2018 midterms, Errol?
Not necessarily. Governor Scott knows he's got a so-called purple state. He's got a lot of Democrats and independent voters that he's going to have to at least not enrage, and I think that accounts for what you just heard. Whether he will actually do what's currently within his power as governor, it remains to be seen, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is all just kind of talk as he tries to get himself elected to the U.S. Senate. I mean, the political system is really kind of where the deadlock lies. The fact of the matter is you've got a lot of Americans who just believe everyone should have guns all of the time and there should be no regulation. They've got a very powerful lobby in the form of the NRA that really kind of enforces that kind of insanity. Governor Scott is trying to walk a tightrope and see if he can get himself elected to the Senate without annoying too many people on either side.